And we're live. Here we go. Week 2. We got our orange on because the Bears are wearing the. What do we call those jerseys? What I want to hear what you call the orange jerseys.
I call the orange jerseys hunting season because it looks like we're
Oh,
going shooting some bucks.
yeah. So this is Turn Up Bear Down. Welcome to the show. Scotty B here with host Madge Anthony. Always changes his name up. 1-0 Bears this week. And man, what a week it was. So we'll start there with our weekly reaction as we often do. The Chiefs win by literally a toe. Quite a game. I missed the second half because I was having a kid. So that happens. And then the Bears, we got Caleb Williams with a big victory, even though he was very, very poor in his overall effort. But you know what? Because I'm on paternity leave, I've had a lot of time to watch tons of game footage. Chase Daniel breaking it down, the old Mizzou quarterback. I've seen JTL Sullivan and his quarterback academy or whatever it is that he calls it. And really, Caleb, he hits 2 or 3 more passes, probably has 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not kidding. It is crazy to watch that footage. And so he's close. Hopefully, he's better. If he's not, then I'm going to be disappointed forever. So, yeah. But what were your reactions with these 2 games? Tell us what you know.
Yeah, no, needed that toe to be in to hit an over, but that's besides the point in that Chiefs game. But honestly, wasn't surprised that the Chiefs snuck it out against the Ravens. I still think they have their number, and you know,
Absolutely.
being down 17 at half as far as the Bears game, kind of gave me some PTSD a little bit, but I think it kind of showed you what. Now, the Will Levis interception late, the backhanded pitch, I think that was a very fluky play. I don't really necessarily say, "Oh, what a great defensive play." I think he literally handed the ball to us,
That
but
was wild.
I mean, it's a rookie move. That's
Yeah.
um, but it was just encouraging to see that again. We do have a good defense. I mean, maybe going into this week, I think we have a better chance and plan to slow down the Texans offense, rather than what they did last year and what they did last week against the Colts. As far as a couple other teams around the league, 49ers showed you that they could put you and I behind at running back, and we could probably run for 100 yards. Uh,
That way.
the Panthers are who we thought they are. They're absolute garbage. They are sell the team, move to Yugoslavia. It doesn't matter because your quarterback is awful. Trade him for a 6th-round pick, maybe a 4th at this point. Save some face. How about the Patriots beating Cincinnati? I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, some are worried Joe Burrow's wrist. He went to grab a Gatorade bottle or whatever, water, and he grabbed it awkwardly with his wrist. They're worried that his wrist still isn't 100%. So we'll see on
That's
that.
crazy that it's not. He's had how long? I mean, it's just
Yeah,
I don't know.
lots of time.
And then the Jordan Love injury. I know Packer fan 31 screamed into his pillow about 30 times that night and probably pounded some silver bullets. But he'll be back, and hopefully we can. The rest of this division can take advantage of him, being out for a little bit. But
I
yeah,
did see that they haven't ruled out Jordan Love for tomorrow, even though other reports said he would be out multiple weeks. So
he's
I,
out. He's
I
out. They're playing the game. They're playing the game. Malik Willis is the starter. He's going to play. They're just doing Belichick things, or they're just manipulating. They're just waiting to the last minute for the the hour before injury report. So yeah, that's what I had as far as and the rest of it went as I thought it would. The slate, most teams, Cowboys are who they are. Buccaneers beat a bad Commanders team, so no real surprises other than a few that we listed.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. Week number 2. This will be fun. And the Bears finding a way to win that game last week at least makes this one more intriguing. So the Bears go to Houston tomorrow night. They're playing the Texans. Be a good game. Hopefully, I feel like it'll be a good game, or we'll get blown out
Yeah,
because The Texans looked pretty good week one, although they had a close one against the Colts. But I actually think the Colts are going to be a lot better this year overall as well because Anthony Richardson to me looked pretty good. I watched the film on their game actually, and he played really well. He only had 9 passes that were completed, and he threw for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we'll see what Caleb Williams can do this week. But the big thing for the Bears is are Romo Dunze and Keenan Allen going to play? Because if they're not, then that really changes the offense. Although, man, I love DJ Moore. Just keep finding ways to throw the ball to DJ Moore. It looks like Colin Johnson is going to be activated from the practice squad. He was the Hall of Fame game All-Star actually against the Texans when no starters played. So he's probably going to get to play a little bit in this game. Maybe Tyler Scott will be back. Just another threat. He looked really good in the final preseason game, and I know those are preseason games, but yeah, I want to see some more guys out in the field. It's kind of weird last week when DeAndre Carter was having the ball thrown to him, and we had Bayless Jones doing Bayless Jones things. I still don't know how he's on the team. And then, man, CJ Stroud.
It's his pet ferret story that keeps him around. That's the only thing.
The Ferret King himself. And then,
Yeah.
I don't know, the Texans look pretty good, though. And Joe Mixon as a running back with CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, all of these guys. It's a good offense. It's a tough offense. So,
yeah. No, I think the Texans are, again, they come in with last year, they were the big surprise, as CJ Stroud was, but I think they come in with all this hype and some momentum, and they get Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, and it just seems like they just added, a couple more notches to the belt, honestly. One thing I will say about the Texans, and I have to give credit to my father-in-law who pointed this out, avid Chiefs fan, Mizzou fan, Jimmy White, the man, the myth, the legend. He kind of mentioned like that the Texans are a team. They are, it's a well-coached team. I have a lot of respect for D'Amico Ryans, and there's talent all over the place there. But they're not a team that closes games out. They're not like if they get up by a touchdown or two, they don't just shut you out and keep that separation.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years, you've seen that they've let teams back in it. They've lost. They've had to score again late. They're not really someone that gets up, and keeps that separation like I would say the Chiefs or some of these other teams that understand possessions and how much time's left and things like that and time control. But I would say if we're missing both of those receivers, it's going to be hard for us. I mean, it's going to be really hard for us, especially if we're not running the ball. So at least if one's active, I'm thinking probably more so Keenan Allen being active, then at least we got a shot to kind of use both sides of the field and a couple different layers. So gonna have to defense will have to play like last week. It will. It's gonna have to play it. It's gonna have to bring their stuff on the road, and gonna have to. I mean, we really didn't get to Levis that much if you think about it.
No.
I mean, we really weren't that disruptive on as far as on the line and winning one-on-ones or whatever. But we're gonna need to do that. We will need to do that because CJ is far more accurate and poised, and he will pick us apart even with a good defense if we can't get to him. So pretty conservative with a lot of our play calls. I'm just going to throw that out there. I did not see a lot of blitzing. I did not see a lot of just kind of fake stuff. You show blitz and back out or whatever. I didn't see a lot of that. It seemed to me to be very conservative. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's
though you're wearing his jersey. He had 2 sacks in the game. One was a fumble, and causing some havoc for a guy we just picked up like in a trade for a 6th-round pick. All right, so let's talk about this week a little more. Here's my players to watch. Caleb, of course, he's going to be a player to watch basically every game all year. I just want to see him, throw for like 200 yards, maybe throw a touchdown or 2, but just lead the offense well, like move the ball, have some consistency there. DJ Moore, like in all of the footage I watched and some of the footage I watched from previous games too, last year, like he has to be utilized so much, and he can be. And then it should open up other guys. I feel like sometimes, you get a new offensive coordinator and new pieces to the puzzle, but why do they try to change what has worked? And in multiple games that DJ Moore played last year, he had 100 yards, a touchdown or two in the game, and just keep giving him the ball. And then when Allen's open, go to Allen. When others are open, go to them. And then DeAndre Swift, I feel like, needs to have a better game. I don't think he did. He was 10 for 30 in the running game, not very good. And he needs to catch more passes too. And there were a lot of bad blocking plays too. Like some of those screens, if the pass was completed, it was a touchdown. But right up the middle, our center, oh man, it's a whole nother story. So let's continue on. Another guy I didn't even talk about on the list, but I'm worried about is Cole Kmet. He's like a top tight end in the league, many would say, and he was only in the game for like 27 snaps or something. It was ridiculous. And he had like one catch. I don't know what Shane Waldron's doing, but feature your better players in the game. Stop giving me Everett and other guys that don't need to be in there. Like DeAndre Carter, I don't dislike him. He had a good return, but there was a play that could have been a touchdown if maybe the receiver was in the game. For the Texans, though, of course, Stroud's going to be a big factor. People are going to want to compare the two quarterbacks. Now, the Bears didn't get C.J. Stroud, but if they got C.J. Stroud last year with our offensive line, it wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't have been offensive of the year. Diggs, I've had Diggs on my fantasy team like every year. He looks really good.
Raji with the we got a misspell up there, Raji.
On Diggs. The R and the E are really close together. And then Joe Mixon looked great week one. And so, yeah, this is the triple threat of the Texans, not even mentioning people on their defense. But who do you like? Who did I mention? There's a lot of good players on the Texans.
Yeah, this might be one of the best offenses we go against all year if you think about it, other than probably the 49ers. And I know there's some other teams late. We're not playing the Chiefs this year. Yeah, Jacksonville. Yeah. So I have Cole Kmet, and there's two reasons for that. One, obviously, he wasn't that involved. I can't explain the snap count stuff. That's probably not anything that's not anything that we're gonna. Even though we work for the Bears, so that's nothing that we're gonna be able to have. We're gonna be privy to. Yeah, it's probably something that was OC head coach Cole Kmet sort of thing. But
it's a rotation. It's a rotation, and when you get a 3 and out or 4 and out, then you can't continue the rotation, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that one's kind of a head scratcher. But I would say, especially if he wasn't as involved. We paid him. He wants to be involved. He is a big part of our offense, and we haven't really shown that part yet. So I think that's going to work in his favor. And I also think if any of those receivers are injured, then you're going to have to throw to him. You will have to throw to him. So I mean, he's someone who probably a lot of people are probably upset about in fantasy world. But I'd stream him this week, especially being a Sunday night game. I think he gets a touchdown this week too, because I do think Rome's not going to play, and I think Keenan is probably going to be on a pitch count if he even plays. So you're going to need to throw to him. Another person is you already mentioned, but Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron, it's time. Just as far as I know, last week it's game script, right? You go down 3 scores, and you're going to have to throw and kind of be a little bit more one-dimensional. And that was part of the reason for, I think, Swift's lack of efficiency, and 10 carries for 30 yards is everybody knew we had to throw the ball, and so didn't really get an opportunity for that to go because, I mean, even before the second quarter was halfway through, we were in a position, we were in a negative game script. So the other one I have is Montez Sweat, because you already said, look at what Taylor's done. Taylor is a guy that clearly can win one-on-ones if they're not going to double him or chip him so I mean, then that means Montez, it's got to get to CJ. I think Montez Sweat is a guy that can get to CJ. I think he's wanting to show how dominant he is, and maybe because of Taylor's last game, maybe he gets a little bit more attention and it frees up Montez a little bit. So those are 3 guys that I'm looking to. I'm going to be watching on the Texans sideline. I agree with all of them right there, even Diggs. I would say again, Nico Collins and Tank Dell. How are we going to be able to handle that? I mean, that's one of the better threesomes as far as receiving cores in the league. I mean, without question. So as good of our secondary has been, I think this is a really, really good challenge. And regardless if we win or lose, there's going to be a lot of good teachable moments on tape after this game for our team.
Yeah.
I really do, because this is going to be one of the best teams we play all year. So wish it was later, but I mean, that's part of the schedule, and who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in this? But yeah, I do think there's going to be some points, because the Texas defense is not their strong suit, and on our end right now, our offense isn't our strong suit. So even though we have weapons, and so hopefully we got some scoring, we get a little bit more scoring. We a little bit more production out of Caleb, and Caleb's gonna keep getting better every day. I've had to answer to about 1,000 people today. What do you think of Caleb, or this week? What do you think of Caleb? What is he gonna be? And he's gonna get better every week. And like you said, a couple plays. We're not even talking about him having a bad first week. Yeah. 2 or 3 throws, and we're this is not even a conversation. It's not even a segment, right? So
like Keenan Allen catches a ball, and there's a 7-yard touchdown, and yeah. So let's talk about the path to victory. We've kind of hit around it, but we got to get an offensive rhythm. We need to sustain those drives, and it's going to take a little bit of time just because everything is so new. But sometimes I just wonder, like, what are we doing in practice? And I guess that's really stupid to say, because these guys make millions of dollars and we just sit on the couch and watch them. But we have a great defense. What are they doing in practice? Like, how do they not see certain things? Or I don't know. There. I feel like there was a lot of overhype with this offense, and I feel like it could still be there, but what we saw was not good. And our center, our line, got to hold up better. We need the secondary to lock down if we're gonna have a chance in this one. You mentioned it, but there's so many good receivers for the Texans, and then I really want to see us establish a run. And I'm a little bit hurt because I don't know how much DeAndre Swift is like this great back. I still like Herbert and Rashawn Johnson, and I thought we had some good backs last year even, and so I kind of want to see those other guys be in the mix as well. I don't really want to see very much Travis Homer in the game, but for some reason he was making his presence felt last week. He did have some nice blocks and a couple of good plays on special teams, but Khalil Herbert, like, just throwing it back, I watched every single highlight from all of the Bears versus Texans games in the history of the two teams playing, and the Bears lost like for the first 4, and then they've won the last 2 against the Texans. And Herbert had a massive game. We won 23-20 over the Texans 2 years ago. He rushed for like 130 yards and had 2 touchdowns on 20 carries, maybe.
We probably beat Davis Mills, old long neck.
Yeah, we did. But that was a competitive game. Justin Fields, threw a couple interceptions and did that type of thing. But our running game was insane in that one. So let's establish a run. Give me Herbert. Give me Johnson. Swift as well. But like, if Swift's a great pass catcher, awesome. But some of these guys just need to be able to run the ball and get some hard-earned yards. For the Texans, if they can start fast, like you said, if they can go up 2 scores, then we're already in a bad situation. And like last week, if we wouldn't have had all those turnovers, we don't come back. We don't win the game. So no turnovers, and then just continue to pressure the quarterback right up the A gap. There, that center of the Bears, he's not going to get it done. And Cole Shelton, I think is his name, or Coleman Shelton. But I feel bad like calling him out, but
bring back Olin Kreutz.
He got destroyed week 1. I've watched so much footage of it. There were a couple times where Tevin Jenkins actually tripped up Shelton, and that's kind of why he fell over, but still just right up the middle, the bull rushes. I've watched so much film from last week. It's ridiculous. But my last thing, watching the Bears versus Texans, every single game that the two have played against each other has been pretty intriguing, at least the last like 5. In 2008, the year of the neckbeard, the Texans beat us 31-24 and eliminated us from what would have been a playoff team.
Yep.
We were 9-7 that year with Matt Schwab.
That was in Houston too, wasn't it?
It was in Houston.
Yeah.
We beat the Texans 23-20 Raquan Smith got a pick. We were going to lose that game, actually, even though we were up 10-0 at the start, and then Justin Fields kind of fell apart. But Raquan Smith picked the ball off. Cairo Santos hit a field goal to win the game. That was the most recent. Before that, we had the Trubisky 3-touchdown game. David Montgomery ran for like 100 yards. We beat them 36-7 when they had Deshaun Watson. And then there was the game where Jay Cutler threw like 2 interceptions and we lost in Houston. And the great Jay Cutler game where he got hurt towards the end of the first half and Jason Campbell came in and we lost 13-6 on Sunday Night Football. So a lot of interesting games between these two franchises and the Texans' short history because they've only been around since 2002, unlike us, who've been around since 1920. But yeah, what are your paths to victory? I kind of went a little over there on trivia.
You did. You got a little long-winded, but it's all good. I love it. I love the content.
Some deep dive.
And turn it into a little bit of a tape rat too, huh?
I guess so. Had a lot of free time.
Tale of the tapes. So I just got 2 things, and we are not at that point as an offense to win a shootout. I'm just going to say that now, even though there is talent and potential to do that in the future, and even this year, we're not there yet. We absolutely have to hold the ball. There has to be some control, even if you don't score 4 to 5 minute drives that you flip the field. So absolutely, we will have to be more efficient on the ground, and we will have to, whether we get explosive plays or not, extend drives with third down. I told you and the viewers last week, it was more important to me, I thought, than Caleb extend drives with third downs than score touchdowns. And so you saw that he couldn't get it done on third down. The offense couldn't get it done on third down. And as great as those passes would have been if they would have been caught, I mean, again, it's the most important down. That's the money down. So that'll be important. The last thing I have is both quarterbacks, who is going to turn the ball over more? Even though Caleb had a bad game this past week, he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over. Whereas in the other quarterbacks that we've had in the past, they would have had not only both low stats but turnovers. So
yeah,
I think
he did try to throw that one through a guy, and then it went flying in the air, and then Roma Dunze jumped up and caught it. Thought he was going to score maybe a touchdown. Then he fumbled it. That was the craziest series of.
That's like a Pop Warner play right there. That's like a third grade Pop Warner tackle football play. So yeah, like I said, the turnover battle will be big as far as with the quarterbacks. Can we get CJ to fumble? Can we get CJ to throw a pick? Can we get him if we get a turnover in the red zone? And can Caleb continue to take care of the ball and not give our defense a short field to have to defend? So those are the 3 that I had. But like I said, it will have to kind of be old school Chicago Bears football, I think, in order to kind of grind this one out.
All right, let's run through some props here. You can just give me – well, I'll read them off, and then you can kind of give me like a yay or nay on if it's going to happen. I think Caleb Williams gets a touchdown in this game.
This is an anytime, right?
Yep.
Or is this a pass? What is this?
Pass or rush.
Yeah, I think he finally gets it. I think he finally gets it. He gets to keep another ball.
All right. Bears over under 20.5 points.
I'm going to say over. I don't think we're in the 30s, but I think we get over that mark. I do. I think we score a little bit, and I think we score late on that defense.
Yeah, this is another one that should be easy, but do the Bears have 200 yards of offense or more? Last week, I think they had 148 or something.
I'm going to say right at that. I'm going to say maybe say a little bit under. I mean, we should, but
the sack yards counted against us last week too, so that hurt us a little bit.
Yeah,
because Williams had that one sack that was negative 19 yards. That
in the red zone
changed the whole game. We would have been up 3-0. We could have kicked a field goal right there if we didn't do anything else. CJ Stroud, does he have 2.5 touchdowns over or under that? And it could be rushing and passing. So
boy, I hope not. He could. I mean, that's a normal day. 3 touchdowns for him is a normal day. I hope not. I'm going to say no. I think Mixon gets in and takes one of those touchdowns that he would score. So I'm going to say no. I'm saying under.
All right, the Texans get 1.5 takeaways. We did try to last week. We tried to throw a couple picks. Tried to fumble the ball a few times. Actually, we did fumble the ball at least once. Bayless Jones.
We did. If Hey, McCoy. Sorry, my son wants to be on the show, guys.
Yeah.
So I would say my gut's telling me yes, it's going to be over. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I'm going to go over.
And then lastly, Diggs anytime touchdown. He had 2 last week, but the problem is maybe not a problem. It's a great thing for the Texans. They have plenty of options, plenty of targets. So does Diggs score? This is for you fantasy people out there.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say yeah, he scores again. I think he goes on a drought later, but I think he scores again this week because I mean, if they're smart, they'll just put him in the slot and then he'll score.
Yeah. All right. My prediction: Texans 27, Bears 17. I don't think we're ready for this one yet, but I'm excited because I feel like there is less pressure going to a team that should technically beat us. It's at their place, and Caleb's a rookie still. And we have last week where it's like, all right, now our expectations have gone down a little bit. There's not as much hype. There's not as much pressure necessarily. So I think that's good for us, but I still feel like we're not quite there. The Texans look good too. The only time I haven't seen them look good in the last 10 games they've played, that's probably an overstatement, but at least what I've watched is when they lost to the Ravens in the the divisional round.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I like that. I like that prediction. I think we get 21. I think it ends up being 28-21. The Texans. Part of me is like I wanted to not pick the Bears because every time we don't pick the Bears, then sometimes they win. So
Yeah.
But no, I just think I think the offense looks better, but it's just not good enough. We're not healthy enough, and the Texans. This could be their year. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
this could be imagine C.J. Stroud and Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship playing against each other.
I mean, that's what everybody wants. That's what will be fun, and
Yeah.
it'll be here in Kansas City most likely. Hopefully, that would be big for KC if it's here. If it's there, I mean, the Chiefs will be fine, but they don't get that icy cold helmet shattering weather that we know the Texans don't like. Plus, history has not proven well.
Texans will do a fake punt and then in their own 20 again, and
24-0 and lose.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's amazing that the Texans are back from that. Like when that game happened, it felt like they were just done as a franchise, and somehow
they sent Bill to Boston College after that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that'll do it here for us at Turn Up Bear Down. Don't forget to watch the game. A lot of people will tune in and watch this game because it's a Sunday night game. It's available to everywhere. It's available on Peacock if you don't have regular antenna TV or cable or whatever it is for those of you old school. But we'll see you next week, and you can see what we got right and what we got wrong. All right.
Hey, real quickly, I'm sorry for all my. I got to mention this because it's something I drew up, and I think it's going to be beneficial. So all my FanDuel DraftKings dogs out there, my fellow degenerates, something to think about for Sunday. As much as we're on a Bears podcast, I think Green Bay wins outright. They're a dog. Take the money line. Ravens, they're at -8. Tease that up to 12.5 because you're going to get it at plus money. You're going to get it at plus money. 12.5. I think they beat the brakes off. The Raiders at home. They're not going to be 0-2 to start the year. That will not happen.
No.
And then Kelsey, anytime touchdown. Burrowhead, beep. I think that happens. So go ahead and plug that 3-legger in there. I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to be probably plus 500 or 600. Take it to the bank. Get over to Elwood. Do your thing, baby. Here we go.
All right. Sounds good. A couple other fun trivia things. Jonathan Owens was on the Texans the last time that the Bears played the Texans. And of the 22 players that play offense and defense for these two teams, there's probably only like 3 or 4 that are still combined playing for these two teams from 2 years ago when these two played. That's kind of crazy to think about.
I don't think any franchises had the turnovers other than maybe the Panthers that we had these two have had. Yeah, absolutely. They cleaned house, literally everybody.
Yep.
Except Patrick Scales.
Yeah.
He survived.
He's been on IR though. So. All All right, well, that'll do it for us here at Turn Up Bear Down. Don't forget to turn up, like, and subscribe. We put a lot of work into this. Orange jerseys on Sunday night, too. I'm not a fan. Yeah. Honestly, I want to wear the orange helmet with the navy jersey. That would be so cool. I'd love to see that. We're out.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hey, check us out next week.
All right, we'll see you.
I gotta go.